Hey, hello everybody. This is Bob Bauer, and I am your host today on Where Do I Fit? This is a podcast production of Warriors Heart USA and Power to Change LLC. I'm excited about today's program because I've had an opportunity to actually do some research on this subject that I'm going to talk about before we recorded this. And I had an opportunity to speak to an outstanding couple out in Illinois. But let me ask you this question. Where do you fit? You know, for me, this has been a resounding question since I was a little kid. You know, I thought I knew what I was supposed to do with my life when I joined the military, then as a cop, and then as a college professor. But I never realized that my purpose in life was to take my own evaluated experience and plant them as seeds, nurturing them and bringing them to harvest. For the past couple weeks on this particular podcast, I've been talking to you about the homeless veteran and their experiences. I shared with you the pain that one feels when they're not only homeless, when they don't have a home to live in, but the feeling of not belonging emotionally. Our mindset is the greatest enemy to being homeless. Well, I want to talk to you today and in future podcast episodes about one option that is cropping up across the United States in addressing this plight. That is the tiny home projects. As I mentioned prior to recording this podcast, I reached out to an organization called 2x4 Hope. I spoke with Chris and Mark, the founders of this outstanding heart-calling organization. Together, they have banded together volunteers and partnered with other organizations, but they are addressing the needs of our homeless veterans in Quincy, Illinois, and surrounding areas. As I said, they've partnered with other organizations doing the same thing, such as the veterans community in Kansas City, Kansas. You know, I love the mission statement of 2x4 for Hope, building hope one board at a time. I have to tell you that I heard the passion in the voices of Mark and Chris. I don't know them personally, but I got to tell you, I fell in love with them on the phone. The same passion that Chris and Mark displayed through their voices is heard in everyone that is engaged in this concept of addressing the experiences of our veterans. You know, my dad used to say to me, "Don't tell me what you're going to do, Bob. Show me what you've done." My dad was a combat Marine that almost died on the battlefield of Korea. Unfortunately, he witnessed the death of his entire squad on that battlefield. He came home, he got married, he raised a family. He made it work for him. But he taught us that the veteran is the lifeblood of our country, which encouraged me and my brother Scott to serve in the military. My brother Scott joined the Air Force, and I joined the Air Force and later joined the Army. But today I want to share with you the vision of Warriors Heart USA regarding the issues of homeless veterans. Right now, we are in the throes of designing, developing, and building a transitional housing project for homeless and working homeless veterans in the Northwest Virginia area. We're calling our project Amber Village. Now, why would we do that? Well, Amber Village is named after a middle school teacher in the Frederick County, Virginia area that inspired her students to always remember the veterans, especially those dealing with post-traumatic stress. Amber would invite her students on the weekends to give up their time to join her at the Martinsburg Veterans Affairs Medical Center in order to interact with the veterans in the PTSD ward. My daughter Hannah was one of those students. Amber inspired my child to remember the veterans. In fact, my daughter even started her own organization called Project Amber Waves, where every Christmas her organization will deliver to the Martinsburg, West Virginia Medical Affairs Medical Center gift bags that include toiletries and other necessary items for them to the PTSD ward and those also in the long-term care facility. She adds value to the lives of veterans who otherwise may have been forgotten around Christmas. Amber impacted my child and many other children in my child's age group. Now, tragically, Amber lost her life in a freak accident back in 2012, but her inspiration did not leave the community. In fact, it is my desire to remember Amber with this community for our veterans. A lasting tribute to a teacher who was committed to adding value, not only to her students, but to our veterans. In fact, her family was and is represented by veterans. I know many veterans who have appreciated what Amber has done, what Amber did. So, what do we need? Warriors Heart USA, what do we need in order to accomplish this project, which is focused, number one, on addressing the needs of homeless veterans? Now, let me remind you, I once was a homeless veteran. I wasn't a drug addict. I wasn't an alcoholic. But I was dealing with issues in my life that had turned me upside down, and I felt like I had no support. And back in those days, there was very little support coming from the Veterans Administration. Today, that's different. What we need is we need to find land that will work for this particular project. We will need volunteers to help us build. We're going to need resources, from building material to money. We need volunteers to help us screen candidates to move into these homes. I got to tell you a story before I go on further. When I was talking to Chris and Mark, they were telling me about two single moms who were veterans and had children. I'm going to try and share this with you without getting choked up. But they told me that the woman had been couch surfing. She didn't have a place to call her own. She was trying to raise her young daughter. And through Chris and Mark's project, they were able to add value to this young woman's life and to this little girl's life. That is a seed that is being planted today that will be harvested tomorrow in so many different ways. Folks, I want you to experience that in Northwest Virginia. Folks, this is our opportunity to add value to the lives of the men and women who are willing to give their lives for all of us at one time. Many are still carrying scars from the battles they fought. I beg you to join us in this campaign to defeat the enemy of homelessness. Now, you can follow us on Facebook at Warriors Heart USA or the Facebook page Where Do I Fit? You can follow us via our webpage where you can see all the things that we are doing to add value into lives of those who are in transition. That webpage is www.pwr2chg.net. Thank you for listening today to Where Do I Fit? Oh, by the way, next week there won't be a podcast. That's April 23rd, I think. And the reason there won't be one is I'm going out to a tiny home community in Western Maryland where I will record out there. There's no internet, so I can't post it. But I'll also post pictures to put on Facebook to let you see what we're talking about. Again, there are a lot of people across this country that are addressing that issue. Thank you. This is Where Do I Fit? And I am Bob Bauer.